Testing, testing, testing. All right. So for today, one thing I was thinking about. How do you know when it's working? How do you know when something that you're working on is actually working? And the reality is you generally don't. You have no idea unless you're getting some sort of external feedback. Meaning, like, okay, let's take, for example, weight loss. You want to lose weight. So you decide you're going to lift weights to lose weight. And at first, you have no idea. All you know is that if you never lifted weights before and you just started, you feel incredibly sore the next day or the day after. Either way, you're sore and there's nothing to say, yeah, this is working and I want to do it again. But you may want to weigh yourself. That way you're getting feedback. You're getting information that's telling you, hey, this is working or it's not working. And when you're getting feedback, you want to be getting it on some sort of consistent basis. So you're weighing yourself weekly or even daily. But that's just an example. But what if it's something else like building a business or making a YouTube channel or something like that, where you're not getting automatic feedback? How do you know if it's working? And again, you generally don't. However, you do know it's working if you do it and you don't want to. What I'm saying is that you are doing things to create the result that you want and you don't feel like doing it. The discipline is more important than the motivation. You're doing it even when you don't feel like it. And that right there, in my experience or my belief, is that when you start to see that things are starting to change. You may not see the result that you're looking for immediately, but you are turning into the person that can have that result. So if, let's say, for example, you wanted to be a YouTuber and have a big YouTube channel. Well, the first criteria of having a YouTube channel is creating content or making videos. And the reality is you may not always want to make videos or create content, but you do it anyway. It becomes part of who you are. It becomes part of your identity, is what I'm saying. And as a result of you taking that consistent action on a consistent basis to create the result, you now are at the very least on the path to having the result that you want. Now, when you get that feedback, however long it takes, you can now take action to change course on what you're doing. Maybe your lighting is bad. Maybe you need better audio. Maybe you need to come up with different titles or things like that to your video. But the one thing you do know how to do is create content. And that is a big piece to being successful, or at least having the result you're looking for. Because in my experience, or what I've come to believe, is that the real trick to all of this is really falling in love with the process. The process is what creates the change that you're looking for. The process is doing those boring, mundane things over and over and over again and over again until you have the result. This would be the stone sculpture that bangs on a piece of stone over and over and over again, where you don't see any change, and then finally a piece of rock falls. And that is the beginning of their creation. And so if you can fall in love with the process, and falling in love with the process means, at least, again, in my opinion, doing those things that you don't want to do, but you're doing them anyway, being disciplined more than motivated, that is the steps to becoming successful. Well, I know it's super short, but just wanted to share. That's it. That's all I got. Enjoy. Bye.